So, this is what a Ghost Story 2 would be like. Presence is directed by Steven Soderberghs and is one of his 2 films coming out this year. So, what did I think about it? Well, let's talk about the categories and give it a score. Acting. So, with a film like this, the way that they attempt this, you really need some strong performances. And, well, it's interesting. Lucy Liu plays the mom, and she does really, really well, especially in the back half of the film. Then you got Chris Sullivan, who's the dad, who is, of course, Stranger Things is Eleven's favorite home cook. But he plays the dad, and he is the kind of middleman of trying to put this family back together, and he's great in this film from start to finish. I really enjoyed what he did. And then you have Kalina Liang, who is kind of pretty much the main character of this story. She is the daughter who's just gone through a tragedy, and she is, well, seeing things, and everyone's just pretty much saying, hey, you're crazy. And kudos to her. She's amazing. She's fantastic. I really loved and enjoyed her performance from start to finish. Then you have Eddie Mayday, who is the brother, and he's good. He doesn't have too many lines within the back half of the film, but in the front half, it's really heavy because you get kind of that relationship difference between the mom and the son versus the daughter, and he plays his character just at the top peak of it all. But I do have one huge gripe, and that, unfortunately, is Westmoreland's character, he's a side character in this film who brings a lot of depth, a lot of intrigue, and also a lot of interesting things that he does. He has some lines within this film where the delivery is so off, and they're not just like lines that are just okay, like cool, whatever. They are part of pivotal scenes, and without spoiling anything, it's sometimes very cringy to watch, and that's why I'm only going to give it a half a star out of 1 within this category. Visuals. Well, I've said it time and time and time again. A good camera is also a character, which technically this film actually does. This film's a character because this whole film is shot in the perspective of the very thing haunting this home, the ghost. It's incredible. I'm literally getting goosebumps just thinking about it and talking about it because it was executed so brilliantly. The swooping shots, the following shots, the present shots where you're just in someone's grill, the overhead, the under shots, it's all masterful work. I really loved this film's look. Its aesthetic. I loved how they cut away things because a certain character says a line within the movie and it all makes sense why they're doing things. And oh wow, it's just brilliant. The lighting is cool. Some of the effects they do are really, really cool. And I just have to say, so far this year, even though we're just starting out, this is my favorite looking film of the year so far, at least for January. So that's why I'm going to give it a full star out of 1 within this category. Audio. One of my bigger complaints with a lot of films is they don't have a strong score. They don't have a central theme that really pulls you and kind of guides you throughout the film. But this film, even though it doesn't really have that, it does have some sort of a theme. It doesn't necessarily need it. This film is a grounded, I would say even realistic approach to a ghost haunting story. This isn't a horror film where you're going to be scared by jump scares, but something that's more psychological in nature, and with that comes lack of audio, lot of audio, and sometimes just nonsense. And what I mean by nonsense is, well, you're going to hear a lot of breathing, and you're going to get spooked a bit if you're kind of not hoping for jump scares, because you're not going to get that here. But if you're going to get scared by the absolute presence of this entity that was in this house. Like I said, the score is good. Like, it isn't really there. It's not the star of the show and doesn't need to be. So with that lot being said, I'm going to give it a full star out of 1 within this category. Story. Well, the cat's out the bag. I really, really liked A Ghost Story. It's a film in which I really appreciated the tone and the thought process behind of what it means to be a ghost, but also what it means to lose. This film, like I said, is like a pseudo sequel. It's kind of the same concept, but you're giving a different perspective. Besides watching the ghost, you are the ghost. And the way that they tell this story, beat by beat by beat, it grips you in further. Now, I know a lot of people are going to call this boring, and a lot of people are going to say this isn't a horror film, this isn't a ghost movie, and I get that. But if you really look at the themes and you look at how well paced this film is, this film could have done the I'm a 2.5 hour long film, artsy, artsy, artsy. But you know what it does? It kind of turns it and goes, hey, let's do an 1.5 hour and 40-minute film. Let's just go, let's run, let's gun, and let's just do this thing. The film doesn't let up. It tackles a lot of deep themes, a lot of scary themes. And I will say, like, even though I'm not too big on them, I will say there should be a lot of trigger warnings that go to this film because it gets intense and gets intense fast. This is the first film this year that literally gave me goosebumps just at the end of the film. The whole thing that moved and everything that kind of collectively was brought together is just so masterful. And that's why I'm going to give it a full star out of 1 within this category. Enjoyment. So, what do you think? Did you think I loved it? Or do you think I hated it? Well, if you think I hated it, then I'm sorry to tell you, but you are wrong because, well, Steven Soderberghs is like top 10 directors for me personally that are living today. His films just do it for me. I absolutely loved this film. I know this film is not going to be liked by a lot of people. A lot of people are going to go into this film thinking it's a straight up horror film because apparently the trailers kind of give it that intention. I don't watch trailers, so I don't know. Maybe if you've seen it, tell me what you think about the trailer versus the movie. Maybe I'll just actually watch the trailer now that I've seen the movie and I'll make my own judgment. But yeah, like, it's not a traditional horror film. It's all about the psychological nature of it all. The film tackles so many different themes of heartbreak, loss, tragedy, love, jealousy. There's so many that just work so well for the story that they're telling, and I'm glad I got to experience it. This film had a limited release in 2024 and is now getting its full theatrical release here in 2025. So I do still count it as a 2025 release, but if it wasn't 2024, trust me, it would probably be in my top 15. I usually walk out of theaters going, that was good, that was okay, or that was really bad. Very few times do I walk out of a film and go, I just watched one of my favorite movies of the year, and so far that's been Presence. It's brilliant, it's smart, it's intelligent, the cinematography, the use of audio. Yes, there are some cringy moments when it comes to the acting, but I forgo this considering the fact that apparently it took them 11 days to make this film. 11. Hey, 11. Ha! 11 because of Stranger Things, right? And I said that the guy, he was the cook to 11. So with all that being said, I am going to give this a full star out of 1 within this category. So if you're keeping track at home, that means Presence gets a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think the film is fantastic.